Hey, welcome back to the 4% podcast. It's Hannah. So today's episode, I have my friend Eleah with me. She's going to be sharing her testimony. We're going to be talking about things that God can do in your life. But before we get started, I wanted to announce something. I recently posted on the 4% podcast Instagram talking about how it will just be me doing the podcast now. Nothing bad happened. Noah had just felt like God put something on his heart that led to something different than the podcast. We're still good. We're still friends. Nothing bad happened. That's just all that happened. So it will be me on the podcast from now on. But like I said, we have my friend Eleah here with us today, and she's going to be sharing her testimony and talking about the amazing things God's done through her life. So, Eleah.
Hey y'all, my name is Eleah, and honestly, there's a lot of different things that went on with my testimony, but there's one part that a really big part that I wanted to share. So, almost 4 years ago, my adopted father passed away from cancer, and I really thought nothing was ever really gonna get better. I thought I was just, gonna fight this depressing time for years, and it was never gonna, end. But, during those 4 years of time, I got addictions to nicotine. I stopped opening up to people. I was really to myself, and I thought that this was literally I was the only person it ever happened to. And I was really closed off, and I really lost my relationship with God. So my 5th grade year, I got bullied a lot. I was overweight. I still had a lot of baby fat. And so I starved myself for 2 years, which, I do not recommend at all. It's really not it's so bad to do. It's really not good for your health. But in my 6th grade year, my social studies teacher, said sexual things, and then people didn't believe me, so that also really got down on my behalf. And I lost interest in myself and, getting to know myself as a person. So in my 7th grade year, before 7th grade happened, I heard about a camp, which was Forward 2021. And I went there knowing that, people told me that it was, going to change my life. But, I never believed it. I was like, this is just, another place to go. So I was on the edge of bringing my vapes to the Forward conference. But something in my head, at the time I didn't know what it was. But something in my head told me not to, so I didn't. And the first night of Forward, when I tell y'all that, every altar call, I don't know, at the time I didn't know what it was, but it just pulled me out there. And every message spoke to me, especially as a teenager. I feel like every teenager should have heard those. It was so powerful. And, I know y'all are, probably hearing this, and you're like, okay, well, she's just saying this. But, when I tell you that it was, the best experience I've ever had, it was literally the best experience I've ever had. I reconnected my relationship with God. I got baptized 2 weeks later. I feel a completely new person, and yeah, it is hard because school starting back and people questioning me why aren't you the same as last year, or people will be like, oh, can you buy me vapes or something? And when I tell them that I've changed, they ask me why. And they're like, oh, you're one of those type of people now. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, well, is what your old self? I was like, no, I play I'm sorry. They used to ask me, they're like, well, you always said that you were, a Christian last year. And I told them I was a fake one and everything. And I was like, I really played the part in church. And, I raised my hands, but I didn't mean any of it. Mm-hmm. And they were like, well, maybe I should come to your church sometime. And I was like, yeah, you really should. And so I brought my friend this one time, and she was, amazed of how different I actually was, because it actually changed her life as, how she saw herself as a person. And I think it's really, there's no words to it. It's really just special when, you are in the presence and you see somebody, or you know it for yourself that God has actually changed you or somebody else as a person. And just, getting to experience that for myself and others is just, I think it's really cool, so.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to say this before, if I, ask any questions, so we can just get any words of encouragement, I definitely want to say Forward Conference 2022. It's known now that it is free.
Yes.
We go to Free Chapel Youth, and to whoever's listening to this, we want to invite you to youth group. It is 6th grade through 12th graders. I'm in 10th grade, Aaliyah's in 8th, but literally we will welcome you like you have been coming all your life, and like you're our best friend. We would love to have you. And with Forward Conference 2022, we would love to have you come with our youth group because it's free. A conference that usually is typically expensive because we live in Spartanburg and it's all the way in Georgia. It is, you have to pay for your tickets, you have to pay for a hotel, you have to, have money for merch and food and all of this stuff. But it's free, so it's obviously going to cost something for hotel rooms and everything, but once again, it is free. We want you to come so bad because even Eleah said it. It's like you'll hear everybody say, like, it's the best experience in the world. And I even spoke after Forward Conference to our youth group saying it too, because it's this indescribable feeling that you cannot get anywhere else. So I promise you, some people will be like, oh, it's just the best experience in the world. Like, we are not joking with you.
You have to be there to actually experience
yes,
it. So
it's just
come.
Because with the thing in this generation is a lot of us feel alone. That is the main thing in this generation. And when you are at Forward Conference and you are in the presence of the Lord with other people around you, your age, you see that you are not the only person struggling. So before we get into any more questions and talking, just please, we want to invite you to our youth group. If you live in the Spartanburg area, we want to invite you to Forward Conference next year. It's just definitely something that you do not want to miss. But so, as we were talking with Aaliyah's testimony, you heard about things going on and struggling with addictions and teachers with sexual harassment things and everything. And then one main question I definitely have before any others is, what would you want to say to anybody listening that is going through the same thing with addiction, on the topic of addiction?
On the topic of addiction, I would really say don't give up and don't allow Satan to convince you to just let go of God's hand. Because even if you don't have a relationship with God, and Satan is trying to pull you, don't give up. I know you feel lonely and you're depressed and things in your life are really bad, but when I tell you that things will get better, go to somebody that you can even come to us. You can talk to us through Instagram or anything. You can DM us. We will be here for you. Open up, and I promise you, we can get you have to want it. You have to be able to want it. You can't just be oh, I want a relationship with God. You have to actually, want it. You can't just say it. You have to want it. You have to pray, and it takes hard work, and sometimes Satan will want you to give up, and he's oh, there's no point. You're already this deep in it. You might as well just keep going. Don't keep going. When I tell you how bad it was so bad, and I was so grateful that I had so many friends and, counselors and, family members that were there for me. To get through it, and they helped me get a relationship with God. I'm just telling you, don't give up and have hope and trust and open up to people.
Yeah, I think that's definitely great advice, especially with friends. I know surrounding yourself in this generation, you definitely have people who love worldly desires and who love the world. But when you surround yourself with a group of people, or you have that person that you can always go to talk about these things, it's definitely something that teenagers will need, because you cannot go through it alone. Literally, you cannot. And even if you feel alone physically, you are not alone spiritually. Yes. And definitely surrounding your friends, like I said, is what you need to do, but the friends that you need to surround yourself with are the godly friends that you can always go to. We have our friend group at youth. Yeah. We have me, you, Hallie, Sydney, Olivia, Jake, Noah, and Jacob, and Colin. We all are together in a friend group where we know we can call any of each other.
We're a family.
It's literally a family. It's a bond that you cannot break. Literally. It's something that you should always have, even through struggling with addictions and everything. And so another question I have is, what would you say to girls specifically listening to this who have dealt with, or any guys that can listen to this too, who have dealt with having an eating disorder and having teachers who are like sexually harassing. What would you say with that specifically too?
For the eating disorder, I know that, like, especially now, and you look at Instagram, you look at Facebook, you look at like TikTok, Snapchat, and you see all these popular people and celebrities, and they have like the great bodies. Maybe not everybody is supposed to have the body. Like, all bodies are like beautiful and gorgeous, and especially for girls and even guys, I know that you don't see it, but other people around you see it. So, like, and I know people will tell you, you have the best body, like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I know you don't believe it, but please try to like just listen to them, because what they're saying is true. Like, all girls and guys, y'all's bodies are like amazing. It doesn't matter if you're 200 pounds or 95. Like, it does not matter. Like, you're literally gorgeous, and all sizes matter. And for the sexual, like, talking and the teachers and everything, I know it seems like a really hard time. Just like for me and my personal like experience, it was really hard, and I felt, lonely, and I was depressed, and I feel like that's when I lost my relationship with God the most. It's just because I was like, if there's a God that does so much for people, why am I like, not getting anything in life? And I was like, if God was like this powerful God, and like, why isn't he helping me? Why didn't he stop this? Well, miracles will be in disguises. I know it seems hard right now, but later on it will get better. But when I'm like, the advice I'm giving to you is, don't keep it to yourself. I thought about keeping it to myself, and I'm glad I didn't now. But I feel like if you keep it to yourself, it'll eat you up inside, and it will literally like tear you apart. And I went to help, and I actually got help from my counselor and from my principal, my counselors at school, my friends and family, and they were there for me, and they understood the situation. And sometimes people won't believe you, which that's life. That's teenagers. That's what they do. They make up lies, and they make you feel bad about yourself. If you're a popular kid, other people are going to make you feel bad about yourself. And even if you're non-popular, they're still going to make you feel like even worse about yourself. And people will bully you. They will they'll give you the worst things you could ever think of to put in your head. They'll give you suicidal thoughts, and they'll give you like the worst things in the world. But like, reach out for help and go to somebody and get help, because keeping it inside is not good. It'll eat you up, and it's really unhealthy.
Yeah. Once again, the things with alone, like loneliness or trying to do things alone, you cannot do it alone. And when Eleah was speaking on having an eating disorder and things like that, and talking about just God created you, and like, sorry, like my mind just went blank, or sorry, where you'll see other people on social media. A main thing is social media is one of the most corrupt systems in the world. It is one of the most fake things in the world. Literally, you'll see one girl, oh, that's probably, photoshopped, because there's things where you can be photoshopped, you can suck in, you can do certain angles where it'll make you look one way when that's not the real way sometimes. But the main thing I think that girls need to hear is you put it in this perspective that God calls you worthy. God speaks one word, like we talked about in service today, one word, and that's all it takes for God to heal or for God to do anything. And he spoke in one word, he created the stars. He spoke in one word, he created the sunsets. And you look at those things, or you look at flowers, he spoke in one word, created those. You look at all these beautiful things around you, and you think those are beautiful, but the same God who spoke in one word and created those things also created you, but calls you even more beautiful and even more worthy. And if that doesn't put it into perspective of how amazingly beautiful you are, I don't even have to see you to know you are beautiful, because the creator of the universe created you. The creator of literally everything around you created you. So he's not just going to look at you and be like, we'll give up on them, like not even create them pretty or something. Like he created every single person in their own unique, beautiful, and worthy way. And so I think just the big message today for people, as we, talked about Eleah's testimony and she shared things, is one, you are never alone, and you can never really go through things alone. When you put that weight on your back of trying to go through things alone, it's just going to weigh you down so much to where you cannot do it alone. You need to pick up your cross, but you can't pick up your cross without God, if that makes any sense. And two is, you're worthy in every situation. No matter if you have an eating disorder, if you have been sexually harassed, if you have people not believing you at things, you are worthy through anything that could possibly go on. And so that's just our main message today. And I think it was really nice having you, Eleah. It was really nice having you on the episode today. I think definitely this message is just made to girls out there who really just need that encouragement, and to people with anybody struggling with addictions, like you can get through it. Like we even have another friend who got set free from things. And once again, with what I said about Forward earlier, come to Forward, come to our youth group. We would love to have you. Literally, our theme in 2021 was freedom. People were set free, chains were broken and fallen to the ground. And that's something you cannot get just by sitting in your bed. Like, you can get these things in the presence of the Lord, and we would love to have as many people as we can possibly have experience the presence of the Lord and see them be set free.
Also, I feel like we talked about it in the main service today. Generations and generations and generations have like had a really good Christian, spiritual, like, I don't really know what I'm saying. I'm just rolling. But we need to, like, build our generation up and get, try to help people, like, find their place with the Lord. Because whenever we have, like, little kids running around at church, they don't really understand the meaning of it. But when they see, like, older kids, teenagers, parents, grandparents, like, seniors, when they see them, raising their hands, they're going to look at you and they're going to be wondering, like, why are they raising their hands? Why is this person on their knees crying at the altar? Like, what are they doing? And they're going to, start thinking about it and wondering about it, and then they're going to get into it. So I feel like our generation needs to help other generations get their relationship with the Lord.
That's the whole point of 4%. That's the whole reason that we named it the 4%, is 4% of this generation has fully given their life to Christ and fully lives their life out through Christ. And it's also why our generation is the most broken, is the most depressed, is the most anxious, the most fearful. 4% of this generation is the 4% that needs to be spreading the gospel the most, that needs to be reaching out to people the most, because we never know when Jesus is coming back. And so, like, we'll have our signs. Like, we even talked about it in church today. We feel like we are more near and end times than ever before. But you never know when you're going to hear that trumpet sound. And we just want to lead as many people to the cross as possible, because we don't want anybody left behind. We don't want anybody to have the flood of Satan come and take them over. And because Satan's big thing we talked about in service today is he tries to send a flood to you and drown you out to where you get so weakened that you're just weary, and he wants to bring as many people to be lonely in hell with him, and we do not want that. Hell is not a party. Hell is not a place where you want to go. It is an eternity of pain and suffering, but heaven is an eternity of pure joy, of pure peace, of streets of gold, of Jesus. Literally, you can get unlimited hugs from Jesus. You can get unlimited hugs from the creator of the universe.
Like, do you know how, like, special that is?
I know. I'm a hug person. Like, I imagine his hugs. That kind of got off topic, but that's just the whole point of the 4%. And like I said, thank you again, Eleah, for coming and joining and speaking with me today. And to whoever's listening to this, I really hope that you got something out of the message and just got that reminder and that encouragement that you are not alone through anything that you do and that you are worthy. We were so happy if you did listen and stay and listened, and hope you have an amazing Labor Day weekend. Yeah. Bye, guys. How do I stop it? Also, we thought we were ending this. We were just kidding because we couldn't find the stop button. But follow the 4% podcast on Instagram. It's the 4%.pod. It's all typed out, no numbers, spaces, or anything. Just the 4%.pod. And also, if you want to, follow Eleah.
My Instagram is Eleah Nicole Maccabee. It's probably not how you think it is spelled, but my first name is Eleah, and then Nicole, and then Mcabee. There's no spaces, so.
Yeah. Have a great Labor Day weekend, and God bless you all.
Bye.
Bye.